We're a nonprofit, nonpartisan global security organization focused on reducing nuclear and biological threats that imperil humanity. We're really glad to be here at Games for Change to launch our new game, Hair Trigger. I want to thank Susanna for her leadership and for all the support that she's given us. You can download the game at hairtriggergame.org. And after this launch, I will be heading over to our booth in the expo with Garrett Kimball of Simcoach to answer questions. So today we'll hear from Ernie Moniz, former U.S. Secretary of Energy and NTI's co-chair and CEO. He's a longtime innovator in the climate, energy, R&D, and nuclear policy arenas. And you may remember him as a key negotiator for the Iran nuclear deal and the Paris Climate Agreement during the Obama administration. Then we'll hear from Jessica Trybus, founder and chief games officer of Simcoach, our partner in developing Hair Trigger. Jessica also serves as fire starter of Moonshots at X, the Moonshot Factory. Before we turn to Secretary Moniz, we'd like to show a short video about the game. Secretary Moniz.
The Threat Initiative is new to mobile games, but the national security world, where I'm from, understands that games can have a big impact in government and at NTI. We've organized simulations and tabletop exercises. We know that asking leaders to make decisions in a tense, fictional scenario and having them think through the consequences can make an enormous difference in how they address issues in real life. With Hair Trigger, we want to give you that same experience. Players can feel some of the emotions and intellectual challenges involved in managing nuclear threats, and we hope that that generates an interest in real-life action and policy change. Hair Trigger is an invitation to have fun, to learn, and to get involved in the important work to reduce nuclear threats. As we face the COVID global pandemic, our vulnerability to high-risk events is painfully clear. The threats posed by nuclear weapons and materials don't make headlines as often as climate change, terrorism, and deadly new viruses, but they're serious, they're 5 years. The first nuclear explosion occurred in Alamogordo, New Mexico, followed by the United States drop Hiroshima in August. The anniversary of 1945. The anniversary is an important moment to assess where we are Cold War levels of more than 50,000, but still far too many. 90% of these weapons are held by the United States and Russia, but 7 other countries also have weapons: China, the UK, France, North Korea, India, Pakistan, Israel. 22 countries have weapons-usable nuclear material, some of it poorly secured, and could be used to make nuclear weapons. Now, nuclear weapons are incredibly powerful. The detonation of just one would kill and injure hundreds of thousands of people, devastate the environment, cripple global economies, and cause mass panic. Even the disruption of a global pandemic pales in comparison. Today, the threats are getting worse. The US and Russia barely talk. Our vulnerability is worse because so many nuclear weapons are on hair trigger alert, a vestige of the Cold War. The arms control treaties that kept us safe for decades have almost all gone by the wayside. and we need to shore them up. Cyber attacks could target nuclear weapons command and control systems or lead to a miscalculation that sets off a nuclear exchange. All of this means that we're just one mechanical, digital, or human error away from a catastrophe that is our lives. Nuclear weapons should be taken off hair trigger alert. Presidents need more decision time before launching nuclear weapons. And we need to pursue other policies to reduce the risks I described today and make the world safer. It can be done working with governments, international organizations, think tanks, and NGOs. NTI has made tangible progress. But we need more voices to call on government leaders for action. There's much more to do. The end of the game links to a page on our website to show how everyone can get involved in reducing nuclear risks. Future generations are going to have to solve many of today's most pressing problems. We've seen in recent weeks and months how powerful public demand for change can be. Without public consciousness and demand, change won't happen. Without people asking tough questions to elected officials, change won't happen. Without someone saying we need or have a new way of solving this problem, change won't happen. We hope Hair Trigger can begin to engage more of you in this process. So download the game and let us develop Hair Trigger.
Jess, over to you.
Thanks, Carmen, and thanks, Secretary Moniz. So NTI first approached us about 5 years ago, Simcoach Games, and they had incredible resources around their issue. They had many experts and high-profile advisors, senators, celebrities, also great information about their cause, beautifully laid out in brochures and a documentary and other videos. The problem was that many people were still not getting the message. So NTI wanted to find a new way to communicate and really grab people's attention in a different way, in a hands-on, interactive way. So I was pretty ignorant myself of the fact that nuclear warheads were on high alert and accidents could too easily occur. The first thing that was obvious to me was the belief that many other citizens, including highly educated ones, might not have this really on their radar either. So it's, of course, best if game designers or any solution designers get passionate about the problem first. What was impressed upon me immediately were two things. That the information was saying if nuclear weapons remain on high alert, that it's not if, but when something bad will happen. And secondly, was that the solution was not necessarily have nuclear weapons in the world or have none, but there had been clear de-escalation actions identified. I had no clue. So we started with these things in mind. The need to simultaneously make folks aware of something really bad while also exposing them to policy actions that could help. We started by looking at our goals and learning objectives and our primary audiences, as well as the potential scenarios that could be worked into the story of the game. So our goals included that players would have a greater understanding of nuclear risks, that the game had personal impact, where a person is engaged in a personal way, and it's not totally abstract, the process isn't, and that the game needed to include a call to action that could drive some policy goal and potentially have policy impact. Our main audience was the next generation, college and young professionals, and of course a broad secondary audience for the game included policymakers and an international community as well. So the goal of the game became about de-escalate before the bomb drops. And the player, of course, is the President of the United States. The story is real and includes real world events. Some are spontaneous, representing random events, and some are probably based on trust or how you're playing. The challenge was how to make it relevant, engaging, and easy to play. And at its core, it needed to capture the balancing act that leaders have to manage, like public sentiment and political capital, executive actions around education, the economy, defense spending, and a balance of power. We started with a board game, created a simulation around these variables. The consequences are dire. It's hard to win, but it's fun to try and try again. And gameplay is easy to understand. Just in conclusion, we're really proud of this game and how it turned out. You can find it on the app stores under Hair Trigger. Simcoach Games is the publisher. Please play and share. Finally, thanks to Games for Change for allowing us to share this with you. Please visit the Hair Trigger booth in the marketplace where you can ask questions and connect with NTI. There'll be actually a live session for an hour starting a little after 1:30. Thank you.